We're measuring to the nearest quarter inch now. And measuring to the nearest quarter inch, we're going to be taking a little closer look at what it is that we're measuring. Let's take a look at this next slide. And you'll notice that on this slide that I don't have a ruler exactly, but I've got some dollars and some quarters. Well, before we take a look at the ruler, whoops, we're one ahead here. Let's back up to our dollars here. We're going to say that from 0 to 1 is 1 inch. And we're going to say, too, that dollar takes up that inch space. And from 1 to 2 is, of course, 2 inches. And we've got $2 there. We're going to use those kind of as a measurement tool right now. And from 2 to 3 is another inch. And we'll say this dollar here is going to represent that. Now, if we take a look in between them, we know that there are 4 quarters in each dollar. If we're measuring to the quarter inch, you'll have to remember that, oh, there's 4 of those between 0 and 1, and there are 4 of those between 1 and 2, and 4 of those, of course, between 2 and 3, and on it goes. Well, if we measured something that was from here to here, that would be 1 quarter. Of course, one way to write 1 quarter, you could say 1 quarter, or we could say 1/4. From the 0 mark to here would be 2 quarters or 2/4. And from the beginning or 0 mark to here would be 3/4. And from the beginning mark to here would be 4/4. And you'll notice that 4/4, oh, that's where I have a whole dollar. So then I don't say I have 4 quarters anymore. I just say I have a dollar. Or if we get from 0 to 1 with 4 quarters or 4/4, we don't say 4/4, although that's what it's equal to. We just say 1. And then we'll go on. From 1 to the next quarter is 1 1/4. Oops, 1 1/4. There, right, a fourth there. So the next one is 1 2/4. And from there to there is 1 3/4. And then, oh, all the way to the end, we would have 1 4/4. And again, since we got 4/4, we'll just say, oh, it's $2 here. Two is the number. All right, well, let's actually practice measuring with this technique using some of the things that I've got below here. Get rid of some of these lines here. Move this up. Move some other lines in place. We'll take a look, first of all, at this black line here. We're measuring to the nearest quarter inch. So I'm going to take that black line and slide it up here. Or measuring it to the nearest quarter, I should say. And it goes to right here. Well, we can see that it's more than 1/4. It's certainly more than 2/4. Actually, it's more than 1, and it's more than 2. Oh, so we're going to start with 2. 2 1/4 here, we could say. Well, is it closer to 2, or is it closer to 2 another quarter? Oh, it looks like it's closer to 2 1/4, or 2 1/4. So if we measure to the nearest fourth, this black line is 2 1/4. All right, well, let's try another one. Let's get rid of these lines here. Get this red out of here. Move that black line out of the plate, that area. And now let's move in this broad red line. We're still marking or measuring the nearest quarter. Let's see. Well, there's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters. Oh, that's the same as 1. 5, 6, 7, 8 quarters. Oh, that's the same as 2. And there's another 2 1/4, 2 quarters, 2 3/4, and here's where the end of it is. Well, let's see, 2 3/4, so it's between 2 3/4, or 2 3/4, and 3. And I'm going to say it's closer to 2 3/4, or 2 3/4. That red line, measured to the nearest quarter inch, is closest to 2 3/4 or 2 3/4 inches. Let's try a different line. Let's go with the little blue one. Move that one up. Start at 0. We're measuring to the nearest 1/4 inch. There's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and that blue line doesn't even make it to the inch mark. It goes right to there. Oh, it's either 2/4, 2/4, or 3/4, and it looks like it's, oh yes, it's definitely closer to the 3/4. So this blue line is 3/4 of an inch, about 3/4 of an inch long, measuring to the nearest 1/4 inch. All right, we've got one more line there, and we'll still be using our quarter method here, measuring. And we'll move that green line in. And we'll start at 0, edge there. And take a look. Oh, it's already past 1, so it's between 1 and 2. And it looks like, oh, it's right there is the nearest quarter. I can tell. Here's a quarter here. So it's between this one, this quarter here, and this quarter here. And it's closer to this one. And that would be these 2 quarters. So it's 1 and 2/4, or 1 and 2/4. Now, of course, some of you know too that 2/4 make a $1/2. And so we could say that those 2/4 are the same thing as a half. And generally, that's what we do. We say it's a half. So whenever we get to 2/4, we say a half here. So here's, instead of saying 2/4 when we get to this line, we say 1/2. This would be 1/4. This would be 1/2. And then, of course, this would be 3/4. And then that's 3. So 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 3/4, and then finally we go over there. It's 3. Let's go on to the next slide and take a look at the ruler. And again, we've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. We've got 1/2 inches halfway between there, and halfway between the halves are the quarters. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we might say 1/4, 1/4, and we know that this is a halfway mark, so we could say half instead of a quarter. It's 2/4 or 1/2. Here's 3/4 or 3/4, and then here, of course, is 1. Let's try measuring a line. I'm just going to draw a line right here. We'll measure it to the nearest 1/4 inch. So we'll put our ruler on that line and take a look. Oh, it's between 3 and 4. It's either going to be between 3 and 1/2. Well, it looks like it's actually just a little bit more than 3 3/4. So I would say to the nearest 1/4 inch, 3 3/4 inches. Let's take a look at those quarters. Here's 1/4. Here's 2/4. Here's 3/4. So it's about 3 3/4 inches long. Let's try another line. Let's draw a green line here. And let's see what that one is closest to. I'll put my ruler down here. Whoop. Back it up just a bit. Okay. And, oh, look at that line. I don't even have to measure that one very carefully. It looks like it could be 4 3/4, which is right here. It's right there. Or 5. Well, it's certainly closer to 5. So the closest 1/4 inch mark on this green line would be 5. Keep practicing on those 1/4 inches, and you'll be an expert in no time.